Hello again, and welcome to another episode of the Detroit Podcast, where it's our job to deliver short podcasts filled with marketing and sales insights that can help you level up your business. So, for those folks that are not in the marketing space all day, every day, here's what you'll get. Our goal is to give you actionable marketing and business nuggets that take the mystery out of marketing to help you achieve growth that will be sure to help you level up. And a fun topic today. So we wrote this article and had it published by Michigan State Bar. Give us a little bit of insight into what the article covers. And
Yeah, high level, the article in this podcast focus for people in the law industry. So big, small, medium-sized firms who are consumer focused or commercial B2B focused, trying to lower the cost of client acquisition is the name of the game, right? There's a lot of spending that happens in the law industry for marketing and client acquisition. We've had success and we helped, and this is what we wrote about, is like lowering that cost of client acquisition or doing it effectively in a sustainable way for the long term.
I think that's a huge point, and that you'll see we focus on that in the article. It's not just about the short term, like quick gains, but it's also setting yourself up for success for the long term. And I think that's where we talked in previous episodes, but it's very pertinent to this industry as a whole, as you need to have yourself set up with a plan, making sure that those measures that you have within that plan are repeatable to make sure that there's longevity to that client acquisition process. Some key things here when we're talking about client acquisition, it's the overall cost that you are spending on your marketing and advertising to acquire those clients. And I think some common challenges that law firms face in particular is the competition in the market is one key element. And I think a lot of paid media that goes into that, be it Google search, be it even social media ads and things like that, that space is very competitive. And you're going to find yourself spending a lot of money if your campaigns are not structured appropriately, spending effectively and efficiently, but also making sure you map out those target audiences. But for me, when I think for you as well, we touched a little bit on the repeatable client acquisition process. Can you give us some steps for how to dive into that?
Yeah, absolutely. And like just touching on the high cost is because there's a high ticket value for opportunities for clients. The competition just drives up that cost in paid advertising. So leveraging other channels of marketing and not putting all of your budget into paid advertising, pulling yourself, adding more and more organic lead acquisition into your overall marketing funnel. It's very beneficial, right? So like proving something works with paid ads is great. Taking what you learn and using that for organic search engine optimization, right? That's ideal because then you start to lower that cost of client acquisition. Then you add in other things like social media, email marketing, and speaking engagements, like bringing people in organically is, name of the game, right?
Big time. And I think you touched on SEO there. We've hyped up SEO plenty in the past, but it's also just a strategy that's not going to go away. It's also not going to rear its ugly head and jack up your budget immensely one day because it is truly organic. And having a sound strategy on your website to evaluate content and put out tailored content that is pertinent to your audience and the verticals that you're looking to dive into really can set you apart. Not to mention the fact that organic is always working for you. We've talked previous episodes about how that organic content is truly that 24/7 salesperson that is out there just pounding the pavement for you in the digital space. So I think that is absolutely immense, but balancing, right? You can't just throw all your eggs in one basket, as you've alluded to. Having that paid approach, but then matching that with the organic, I think gives you a true balanced attack. So you're not wavering too far or too dependent on one item and neglecting the other. So I think making sure that those resources are allocated appropriately, a big talking point. As far as some organic growth strategies, I think we touch on it in the articles in particular, but are there any things that you would recommend, particularly for law firms, to enhance those?
Absolutely. Having that mix between organic and paid, crucial, right?
Yes.
Making sure you're budgeting and spending appropriately and setting yourself up for long-term success. On top of that, having steps in place and a system in place to do something with the leads that you get once either paid, social, or organic search engine brings people into you, being able to follow up in a timely manner is crucial, right? So a CRM,
Yes.
client relationship management tool, is so important and it's often neglected in plenty of spaces, but it's so important to be able to follow up in sales and stay top of mind for referral partners in an organized fashion.
Yeah, I think having a CRM in place for your business, if you're a one, two-person firm, if you're a larger team, larger firm in general, making sure that you have a defined process once an opportunity comes in or a client reaches out. What does that follow-up process look like? If you're solely dependent on it being they reach out, that's the end of it, we have a new client, it's a dangerous game and you're inevitably going to be missing out. So want to make sure that you have those things in place. And again, that's an area where any industry, we've worked with a number of folks in those spaces to help them define what that process looks like. And inevitably, it makes you more efficient as a whole.
Absolutely.
So again, just to bring it back, we want to make sure that you are looking at your client acquisition strategies and making sure that you have that balanced approach, that the steps that you use in your process are repeatable and very actionable. Also, with that, we want to make sure that you're measuring how effective your organic approach is, as well as your paid approach, to have that kind of balanced plan and balanced attack. And then, as always, make sure that you're taking in your data, analyzing that, and determining what's most effective for you. And another option that could be very beneficial and is a real authority builder in this space, I think, is the use of a podcast and being able to communicate, in many cases, directly to your potential clients that may have questions, may just be searching, and in that first stage of even wondering how they go about acquiring your services or if it's the right thing to do. And what it can really do is make you very relatable, and it can make you very personable if it's listening to it, if it's watching it on YouTube or whatever your channel may be. I think that is an easy, efficient way for you to speak to many people that could be looking for your services, but doing so in a way that makes them feel very comfortable with who you are, your expertise, and your abilities.
Absolutely. And one note that, like, for consumer focus, people are finding you because of that potentially. But for the commercial side, law firms working primarily with businesses and using and relying on referrals for acquiring clients. Like, a podcast is that authority builder that builds trust, builds expertise, and keeps you top of mind. So when someone sees an opportunity and thinks, hey, I don't do this, I know someone who can help, or I wish I knew someone who could help, you are first thought, right? So
Exactly.
utilizing the podcast to bring in and have social media clips similar to what we do with our podcast, it works immensely to bring in referrals.
All right. So, folks, know we covered a nice overview here of what our article entails. For the full article and more in-depth information on this topic, please go ahead and check out our show notes, and you'll be able to find the link to the full article in there. And that is our episode for today. So if you can, please make sure to like and subscribe to the podcast wherever and however you listen to your podcast. And if you have any questions you want us to talk about on the podcast or want to get in touch with us, please visit adroitmarketing.com/podcast. Thanks for listening, guys.
Thanks.